Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you know how I bleed. I do this for my little boys, cause they look up to me. Cup real muddy and blunt real stuffy. I'm in here.
Cook County prosecutors describing how Carlishia Hood summoned her 14-year-old son, who was out in the parking lot late Sunday night at this Maxwell Street Express restaurant at 116th and South Halsted, and then things started heating up.
During that altercation, the defendant began texting her son. The argument between the victim and the defendant turned physical when the victim punched the defendant in the head approximately 3 times. The co-defendant fired a shot at the victim inside of Maxwell, striking the victim in the back. As the victim fled, the co-defendant followed him and fired additional shots. The defendant instructed her son, the co-defendant, to continue to shoot the victim.
June 18th, 2023. It was around 11 p.m. that Sunday when 35-year-old Carlishia Hood walked into a Maxwell Street Express located on 116th and Halsted on the south side of Chicago. She was there to pick up some food while her son waited outside in her SUV. While Carlishia stood at the order counter, a 32-year-old man by the name of Jeremy Brown and his girlfriend walked into the restaurant. For unknown reasons, Carlishia and Jeremy started arguing as Jeremy's girlfriend started laughing and egging him on. The two had never met, so it was strange. Carlishia didn't even know this dude, so she texted her son, who had been waiting outside in the car. Moments later, Carlishia's son walked into the restaurant with his hands in his pocket, and he saw Jeremy punch his mother in the head. It was reported that Jeremy punched Carlishia at least 3 times. So after the first punch, Carlishia's son pulled out a firearm from his hoodie and shot Jeremy in the back as he tried to run.
In a disturbing case unfolds in court, a mother accused of ordering her son to commit in a West Pullman restaurant.
The 35-year-old West Pullman mother, who according to prosecutors got into a fierce verbal argument with a Southside restaurant patron. This was Sunday night while they were waiting in line for food, the situation quickly escalating into a deadly encounter.
Startling new details on what led up to a deadly at a Southside restaurant. Prosecutors say a mother repeatedly encouraged her 14-year-old son to one.
The mother and son are now charged, both of them. Elizabeth Matthews joins us now with more on this developing story. Elizabeth?
Yeah, Natalie, that mom who's accused of giving those shoot orders is now being held on $3 million bail. Parts of that actually captured on this restaurant's surveillance video, which helped the witnesses identify the suspects to police.
Carlishia Hood got into an argument with Jeremy Brown at a Maxwell Street Express last weekend, and at some point Brown punched her. The entire incident was caught on surveillance video. Police allege that Hood's son then shot Brown in the back and continued firing once outside. Hood has since been charged with murder.
Jeremy managed to run out into the parking lot where Carlishia's son followed. It's alleged that Carlishia ordered her son to continue to shoot Jeremy. After Jeremy collapsed, Carlishia allegedly told her son to shoot Jeremy's girlfriend too, and then she even tried to grab the from him. But the teenager pushed his mother away and regained control of the two then got back in the car and drove away. Jeremy, who had been shot twice in the back, was pronounced deceased at the scene. Carlishia and her son would later turn themselves in on that Wednesday, at which time police seized an unloaded, unregistered firearm with an empty clip. Now the funny thing is that Carlishia, who had no prior arrests, had a valid firearms owner's identification card and a concealed carry license. Now both Carlishia and her son are being charged with first-degree homicide, and Carlishia, who is also being charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor, was ordered held on $3 million bail.
Cook County prosecutors describing how Carlishia Hood summoned her 14-year-old son, who was out in the parking lot late Sunday night at this Maxwell Street Express restaurant at 116th and South Halsted, and then things started heating up.
Carlishia Hood got into an argument with Jeremy Brown at a Maxwell Street Express last weekend, and at some point Brown punched her.
So this all happened Sunday night, police tell us, just after 11 o'clock, about 11:05 p.m. 35-year-old Carlishia Hood and her 14-year-old son arrived at the Maxwell Street restaurant on South Halstead at 117th. Hood went in for food. Her son waited in the car. Prosecutors say that's when she began arguing with this man, 32-year-old Jeremy Brown, who was also inside ordering food at the time. Hood began texting her son, who appeared in the doorway, hands in his pockets. A fight became physical between Hood and the victim. The victim was able to punch the woman once.
The store surveillance video capturing the moment the 14-year-old sees his mother getting punched, investigators say, and that's when the teen allegedly pulls a from his pocket.
That's when prosecutors say the boy pulled out, fired a single shot to the victim's back, followed him outside, kept firing, striking him fatally twice in the back.
The 35-year-old Hood, according to prosecutors, ordering her son to another restaurant patron who thought the initial verbal dispute was funny, but the teen wrestling the gun away from his mother.
During that altercation, the defendant began texting her son. The argument between the victim and the defendant turned physical when the victim punched the defendant in the head approximately 3 times.
The entire incident was caught on surveillance video. Police allege that Hood's son then shot Brown in the back and continued firing once outside.
The co-defendant fired a shot at the victim inside of Maxwell, striking the victim in the back. As the victim fled, the co-defendant followed him and fired additional shots. The defendant instructed her son, the co-defendant, to continue to the victim. Once the co-defendant finished the victim, the defendant turned her focus towards witness 1. She began pointing at witness 1 and instructing her son to her.
Prosecutors say the Hood even tried to get the from her son, but he pushed her away. No shots were fired at that witness, who was also the victim's girlfriend.
And thankfully, no more shots fired, but the damage was done. The 32-year-old male victim succumbing to his injuries. Mother and son now facing first-degree murder charges and a host of other offenses.
She's also charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. The teen boy also facing unlawful use and possession of a firearm. Both, we're told, did surrender themselves to police yesterday. We're also told that Hood, the woman charged in this, the mom charged in this, also had a FOID card herself and was licensed to conceal carry.
Now, this story is really unfortunate, and I also seen a lot of back and forth going on social media. But I think I got a general idea of how this played out. I don't believe that it was Carlishia's intention to have her son use the firearm. But us boys, man, the love that we got for our mothers, man, is unmatched. You know, so I could understand the predicament that her son was in. I believe what happened, for whatever reason, Carlishia and Jeremy got into an argument in that restaurant. She texted her son, "Bring me my thing." And as her son was gonna bring it to her, he never made it to her, because that's when he saw Jeremy put his hands on his mother. And like I say, the love that we got for our moms is unmatched. So he did what he had to do. And it's really unfortunate, because from my understanding, he had just graduated the 8th grade. I mean, man, not only is there a loss of life, but who's to say what the system's gonna do? But I don't know. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts on this one. And as usual, man, if y'all haven't taken the time already, subscribe to the channel. I got more videos coming. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one.
I'ma sip all night till the pain gone. I'm knowing that they hate me since I came round. I've been loyal as fuck to the end of